So this is a continuation of the programming of the FMGC from Pittsburgh down to Atlanta. Might as well fly it. This is a Sunday afternoon, and whoops. Might as well fly the thing, right? So let me get back to my checklist here. I've got the again, the APU is running and our ADARUs are all set, so I just need to close the doors, and they are. Turn off the ground power. We are fueled up, and I should have had the beacon on, but definitely before we start our engine. Strobe is on. Get our seat belts going. No smoking sign. Our emergency lights. Our landing elevation is auto. Cross bleed is auto. And we can do our fire test here. And so we're ready to back away from terminal. Turn that off. That's the no skid. I think that's what it stands for. Anyway, nose wheel steering off. Turn on our radios and get some lighting going here. Yep, looks better. And we can put in our initial altitude, and again, we want to check that. I didn't really look at the SID for this. I'm using the newer version here of Flight Vector. I'm sorry, Sky Vector. I am curious what if there's an initial altitude here. See if there's if there's a second page to that. Sometimes that will contain our initial climb, and jets maintain 5,000, so our initial altitude will be 5,000. Not surprising. Back to our airplane. $5,000. Got to put in my cruise altitude. I wonder if any of you caught that in the last video. That would be a problem. There we go. Get our performance screen taken care of, and flaps here 2. And we'll go with F44. Now we should be set. Sorry about that. There we go. And 20 over that V2 speed. Yep, 152 plus 20. What they recommend. And let's update our departure So we've got 29.95 on the barrel. There we go. And now we're ready to call for our tow. Normally you would turn off your parking brake, but JAR does that for me. Now, one thing I forgot to do, let me just check that runway that we're going to be taking off from 28C. I need to find out where that is. So let's go back to our maps and airport diagram. And 28C. Right here. So we might have some taxiing to do depending on where we're situated. So we need to taxi to the southeast end of the airport. You can also check the local map in X-Plane, see where you are. So yeah, we've got to taxi all the way over to here. I'll spare that portion for you. Alright, so let's get pushed back. So we'll probably just want to point the tail in this direction. Make sure there's nothing in the way here. No.
Park brake off.
Got my shadows off because it takes such a big hit. There we go. And we'll send our
brake on.
And notice the brake is on. We hate to start the engines with the brake off. Okay, I'm referring to my checklist here. So we need fuel pumps on. And now engine to start. We'll go ahead and start engine 1.
Starting engine 1.
And our temperatures come right up. And we'll wait for that to stabilize around 20. While we are waiting, we can put on our auto brake. Alright. Engine number 2.
Starting engine 2.
And we can turn on our transponder. And wait for this to stabilize. And then we can shut off our APU lead, then the master switch. Our packs are on. The electrical pump comes off. Mode goes to normal. Need to arm our spoilers.
Spoilers armed.
And 2 notches of flaps.
Flaps 1. Flaps 2.
And we're being reminded that our nose wheel steering was off. You can put on some lights here. Strobe to auto, so that will activate as soon as we get off the ground. Kind of cool. Again, I'm checking my list here. So, looks like we're set to go. Just one thing on the list. Turn this back to arc. And we'll go ahead and taxi.
Park brake off.
And I will meet you at the end of the runway. Alright, we are now at the end of runway 28 center. That was a long taxi. So a few things we need to do before we take off, besides be lined up with the center of the runway. So we're going to just check our transponder, flip this over to the final notch. We're set with our spoilers, flaps. Need to change our lights out here, landing on, and packs off. And we are ready for takeoff. So we have been cleared by ATC. One finger on the G key, one on the 4 key, so I can raise my gear. Up to flex. Rotate. Positive rate. Gear up.
Spoilers disarmed.
Spoilers disarmed. Nose wheel off. Packs on. And our climb lever light is flashing, so power back. Get a little speed here, put the nose down. First notch of flaps up.
Speed check. Flaps 1.
I'm just hand flying it for right now. I can go ahead and crank up our speed a little bit. Need a little bit more power here. Again, I'm hand flying this. So we can go ahead and crank this up to 35, or flight level 350, and you can see that we're coming up on our vertical nav here.
Speed check. Flaps 0.
Alright. So we'll climb, and I'm going to go ahead and just set this to 250 by turning off our speed knob. Pressing our altitude knob on the FCU, and you can see that our speed bug has gone up to 250. So I was trying to do a little hand flying there, but I don't know how successful that was. Normally I just put autopilot on immediately.
Autopilot 1, cross-check.
Looking for the airport. Sounds by Blue Sky Simulations. And at 10,000 feet, the nose will come down, our speed bug will climb. Here the throttles come back. No, maybe not. So landing lights off. Retract. Our top of climb is 120 miles out. That's rather significant. I don't know if you can hear the motorcycles outside the door here. Not very realistic. So our speed is still climbing. Still have a pretty low rate of, well, there it goes. Now that we've reached our climb speed, we're going to get more aggressive rate of climb here. And we're going up to flight level 350. So the only thing I'm going to do at flight level 180 is go with our standard baro. So that's just pulling the knob. Get the little fist to pull. So I will get back to you shortly. So here we are at flight level coming up on 230. I took care of my standard baro. It starts flashing down here, but I did get a caution, ice detected. So when that happens, there's 3 3 switches that you can flip on. But it now says that the ice is no longer detected. So I can shut this off and we'll see if it flips on again. Sometimes it'll kind of toggle on and off, and you just end up keeping the de-icing on. SkyMax Pro doing a pretty good job today. And our top of descent is 72 miles out. So back to you then. Well, we're coming up on our top of descent, just 24 miles out, and I've this is X-Airports, and here's our aircraft right now, and here's Charleston. I don't see any other major cities that I recognize. Morgantown, Fayetteville. And you take a look out the window here. Lots of green rolling hills. And we can probably let people go to the bathroom. Always a good idea. And since we're in a managed climb, we will see the throttles come back. See our altitude bug coming up. Now there are ways to get a more aggressive climb, and that's by using our speed on the FCU. But I just went with managed. I was talking to a 747 pilot not too long ago, and he said that they do not hand fly above flight level 180 as a company policy, but I was surprised that they do that much hand flying anyway. Well, there come our throttles, and we are at our cruise altitude. We're a little bit ahead of the game, which is just fine. So now it's just a matter of riding this out. So I'll get back to you if there's anything of note I want you to see. Otherwise, definitely by top of descent. Just checking in with you mid-flight here. We are the plane coming up on the Appalachians. I believe that's what they are. Appalachia. Makes sense. And coming up on a waypoint here. What is that? Hotel Lima Romeo Yankee. Flight level 350. Got a ground speed of 454 knots. Look out over the window. Maybe get out of the airplane here. So here's our mountains. No cities of note. So I'll get back to you in a bit. Stand by. Alright, I'm still at cruise altitude, and you can see our little airplane here just to the west of Asheville. Other than that, I don't see a lot of cities I recognize. My family is actually from Asheville. My people, as I say, are from Asheville. Very green. Different than flying over the Central Valley of California like I was yesterday. That video's online. Little towns tucked in the valleys. And we're coming up on our top descent, just 21 miles. So a couple things I want to do. Go over to my Sky Vector. This is the jet route we've been flying, J145. We picked it up here at Charleston, Hotel Victor, Quebec, and we're going to depart that jet route here at Foothills, Oscar Delta, Foxtrot. I do want to look at my approach chart to the runway. I'm interested here in this altitude 5,000. I'm going to dial that in on my FCU so that I have a target altitude, and double check my frequency, 110.1. Back to the airplane. Just check that, 110.1. Always good. And 5,000 feet. So far everything managed. So on our top of descent, we can press the altitude knob to begin. So our throttles will come back, and you'll see a little red dot appear over here, which is our vertical path. My friend Steve was telling me there's a way to set the profile here, but for some reason it's just not working for me. Alright, top of descent. Go ahead and you want the little finger and not the fist. Oh, there it is. It's on this side. So, notice that we've got some speed bugs here and some limits, and our speed is, or our altitude is beginning to drop. There it is. So we're the little red dot here. I don't know how useful this is, but kind of cool. Alright, we should probably turn on our seat belts. Remember I said there would be a little red dot here. This is the path for our descent. So you can see it's slowly moving down. The aircraft will adjust its rate of descent to match up with that. So throttle's idle. You have a managed descent, otherwise you would see OP. Our next little red bubble here is a hashed circle, which indicates 10,000 feet. And again, we will depart our airway at this VOR Oscar Delta Foxtrot. So we'll take a short little break here. So we're coming up on flight level 180. So there we have our flashing barrow down here. And we can check our let's see. So our airport here, I don't know why this, for some reason this is flopped, but anyway, Atlanta, we have 2995. So I can the little finger, 2995. So we're good. Although maybe I mixed that up in Pittsburgh. Did anybody remember? Oops. Alright, I've got our range down to a more granular level. Maybe we could add a little,
Spoilers half.
drop our speed down a little bit. I'm surprised we weren't asked for more drag. But we are right on our descent path. See where the little circle is? And here's our 10,000 foot mark. As we turn towards Harry after Dirty. I often wonder who comes up with these names. Must be kind of fun. If you get near Silicon Valley, you get all kinds of Apple names for your waypoints. Alright.
Spoilers retracted.
So at 10,000 feet, we'll leave the lights on. We'll see our speed drop to 250. See where we are. See if we can see Atlanta yet. Here we are. Here's Atlanta. I wish it showed the airport on here. Should take a look at our approach chart. So we're going to be intercepting here at Zello. So we can turn on our lights for just about to 10,000. Notice our speed is dropping down to 250. I was hoping it would be darker. I just can't get the time right. Oops, I noticed my timer was never turned on. It's on my checklist. Fortunately, it's nothing as bad as not turning on a fuel pump, but still a little sloppy. $250 coming up on BAM. Dirty Harry BAM. Now our approach phase is well along our approach localizer. I might activate it sooner than later. It is automatic if I forget. But I'll be busy doing other things. So let's turn on our ILS bugs. I don't see them yet. So we're 22 nautical miles from the end of the runway, or from the ILS antennas. So here is our localizer. I'm going to go ahead and just begin our approach phase.
Approach phase activated.
Come on. And I just lost my frame rates. Not sure what happened there. Let me get back to you in a second, see if I can resurrect this. Alright, I was able to resurrect it. I turned off HDR. So, back to my approach here. So, approach light is on, and our localizer and guide slope are ready to be locked in.
Autopilot 2, cross-check.
And we can drop a notch of flaps.
Speed check, flaps 1.
I'm going to try something a little different today. I'm going to actually take over the controls and do a visual approach, since the weather is so nice. Now notice we blew right over our guide slope. So why don't I just brake fan on, brakes, another notch of flaps.
Speed check, flaps 2.
A little far out for our gear. I can see the PAPI lights, and we are high.
Gear down. Speed check, flaps 3.
Just trying to slow things down here.
Speed check, flaps full.
So I'm a little far out for all that flap action, but so I've got one finger on my hat switch, which is my throttle. Arm my spoilers.
Spoilers armed.
And nose wheel light on. I'm chasing that guide slope needle, which is not the best thing. Don't want to be chasing needles. But you can see the guide slope is coming
Radio
up.
altimeter alive.
So with the PAPI lights, you want 2 red, 2 white. Say white over white, have a nice flight. Red over red, you're dead. So, autopilot is off, auto thrust is off. Back on my power a little bit.
One thousand.
Well, we got 3 now, so I'm a little low.
500,
Try to keep this nice and smooth here.
400, 300, 200, 100, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard.
South. First green.
A little bumpy, but
70 knots.
uh-oh, they didn't like that, did they?
Park brake off.
So we'd be waiting for a handoff to ground control before we cross that yellow line. Lots of terminals over there. But we can start cleaning up the airplane. Now my buddy Steve would be looking for AutoGate at this point. Anyway, we've been cleared to our gate. Speaking of which, turn off our strobes, landing lights. You know what, I just realized that my checklist does not have shutdown. So I guess we'll be just doing the checklist in reverse. Turn off our brake fan. So if any of you have suggestions on how I might have handled that landing a little bit better, I'm open. Yeah, you could see why you'd want your ground crew out there helping. So we can shut this thing down. Oops, I didn't get my flaps up.
1. Flaps 0.
I should have turned on my APU, right? I know all of you are going, you forgot the APU. So we'll start that up. Of course, I'm sure they would be hooking up ground power by now, but that's no excuse. That was sloppy. Again, I need to work on my checklist, don't I? There we go. All right. My apologies. But we made it safely. So until next time, thanks for joining me.